In Charleston, I got a sense of uneasiness.
And it quickly became clear this was not a boil water advisory. This was something much more serious.
You know, I don't think anyone had any clue what was going on.
Right. Well, what the chemical spill taught us is that water is extremely valuable, and we just often take it for granted because we have so much of it.
To put it very bluntly, the chemical leak into the water system in Charleston was an embarrassment for the entire state that we will feel for years and years to come.
The first 3 days after the spill, people were coming to work unshowered, basically cleaning up as best you could with like baby wipes or some sort of like, you know, whatever towels you had laying around that you could clean yourself with.
Our staff, our reporters, their families, many of them, I think nearly all of them, they lived in apartments and in homes where they didn't have water either. So this was a story that they were covering, but they were also experiencing firsthand. And that was really important because I think it added an additional sense of urgency.
But also trying to fathom what it was like to be completely cut off, to not have an appropriate supply of drinking water, or to only have to be able to shower in a public space every couple of days if you're lucky.
What happens here, where we get a lot of rainfall, we take water for granted. We're rarely under water stress in terms of water quantity stress. We just have so much water, and that water has a dilution value to it, so it dilutes our pollution. But what we saw from that chemical spill is that when we don't have water, it creates a serious, serious situation, and not one that's just, oh, environmentalists care about it. Everybody cares about it. Citizens care about it. Businesses care about it. It's wildly important to us, and we see it when we realize it when it's gone.
I think to myself what that situation might have been like if these sensors were available and journalists could have been pulling samples and testing things. Granted, they would obviously want to be looking for levels of MCHM, but the levels of conductivity might lead you to, you know, ask more questions about what's in the water.
This was not handled well, in my opinion, at multiple levels. And I think a lot of that had to do with the fact we were in uncharted territory. Some of it, I think, of our own making, some of it not. This was a chemical that we knew about and had been a part of the coal industry and the cleaning process for a number of years, but had not been studied very extensively. So we didn't have a lot of information from the scientific community to start with.
As we lose rivers and their value of drinking water and become dependent on very few, then we become very susceptible to something that would seem like to be a localized event. And instead, that localized event, you know what, it touched a third of the state, you know, the residents.
One of my favorite things that I saw in that time was going down Quarrier Street, and there was a guy and his wife, and they looked like they might have been, you know, late 50s, early 60s, who had loaded up the back of their truck with cases of water from Walmart, and they were going down the road handing them out to people. And it turned out that they were from Braxton County, and they had heard about the problem, and they just wanted to come and help. And their charm was everything you would expect from a West Virginian. You know, it was kind of this expectation. You know, we saw someone ask them why they were handing out the water, and the guy looked at him and said, "Well, hadn't you heard? It's emergency." I've never, ever, ever seen the community of West Virginia come together in a way that people did during the water crisis.